They took them out of their sleeves. Oh my God, they really did this. They threw them in and, oh my God, I am so pissed right now. They threw them in an envelope with no protective holders. What the heck? Oh my God. They don't know what they're dealing with here. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. That's a $3,000 card right there. Before I get ahead of myself, my name is Reed, and I've been collecting rare music cards for over 30 years. I searched the globe for hard-to-find music cards, both vintage and not-so-vintage, to add to my always-growing collection. I don't consider myself an expert at any of this. I'm just a guy with a camera enjoying this crazy hobby. Feel free to come along every Sunday where I'll post a new video showing my inside look at how I go about growing my collection. Welcome to collecting music cards. So today's video is going to be somewhat of a roller coaster ride. Do me a favor and watch this video through so you get the complete context of where this situation started and where we are now. For those of you that saw my video 2 Sundays ago, you probably picked up on the fact that things were looking a little grim between me and CGC Card Grading. And to be clear, my issue wasn't the usual stuff people complain about. It wasn't about bad grades, it wasn't about turnaround times, it wasn't about pricing. Here's a quick review. So right now I'm going to do a quick unboxing of some cards I just got back from CGC. These are being returned to me and they rejected this order and I don't quite know why yet. I sent in a total of 4 orders to them of German magazine cards. The first 2 orders they had no problem and they went through and graded them, a total of 48 cards. Between those 2 orders, they graded. They returned some cards to me ungraded, but they graded 48 cards. After that, I sent another 80 cards to them in a form of 2 orders of 40 cards each. This is one of those orders coming back to me, and they decided not to grade any of them. And what I want to do is I want to open them up right now and see if there's any notes. Occasionally, CGC will put a sticky note on the like on the holder of the card to let you know exactly what's going on with it, and they'll kind of give you a note there. So I'll open these up and we'll see what I can find out there. There we go. I think I'm just kind of cutting this apart at this point. No way. No way. No way. No way. Did they really just throw these? They took them out of the sleeves. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Oh my God. Oh my God. They took them out of their sleeves. Oh my God. They really did this. They threw them in and, oh my God. I am so pissed right now. They threw them in an envelope with no protective holders. What the heck? Oh my God. They don't know what they're dealing with here. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. That's a $3,000 card right there. Oh. And these aren't looking great. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that's just on the sleeve there. Oh. Oh. This is the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen. Wow. And you know what? That's their prerogative. If they don't want to grade these things, that's fine. If they, whatever reason they can come up with that they don't want to grade them, but you don't treat them like this. Wow. Okay, cool down, Reed. Cool down. Well, I don't have much more to say than that. So as you can see, this package arrived the same way the last one did. Cards totally unprotected and nothing more than penny sleeves. And as if that isn't bad enough, this time they decided to insert the plastic labels in the penny sleeves in full contact with each of the cards. Any pressure applied to this stack of cards could leave an indentation of the edge of the label on those cards. These labels are not thin paper. These are fairly rigid plastic labels. Needless to say, I'm disappointed with what went down here. I reached out to CGC in an effort not only to gain clarity on why these cards were shipped in this manner, but to give them a heads up not to ship this final order in the same manner. As of 1 full week later, I have not received their reply. And here's the thing. Maybe this is acceptable practice by many people's standards. Maybe after decades of dealing with rare cards, I've become oversensitive to card condition. Help me out here and let me know what you think in the comments. I am almost hoping I'm just overreacting. In the video, I asked the viewing audience, do I have a legitimate gripe or am I just overreacting in regard to how my cards were shipped back to me unprotected? The response was one-sided. Viewers made it overwhelmingly clear they would be upset as well if they found themselves in this situation. A couple days into all this, I sat down and wrote a message to Andy Broom, who is the head of sports card grading at CGC, asking for nothing more than an explanation as to why my cards were shipped in this reckless fashion. I sent the letter to Andy because, frankly, he was the first name that came up on Google. I wasn't asking for compensation. I wasn't asking for anything to be fixed. I just wanted one thing, an explanation why my cards were shipped like this. Now, if you've been around this hobby for a while, you already know the reputation grading companies have right now. There's a lot of noise, and not much of it is positive. Lack of transparency, arrogance, inconsistency, questionable business practices, carelessness, and greed. And after grading close to 4,000 of my own cards across multiple companies over the last few years, I've seen every one of those issues at some point. But here's the thing. Even after all that, I don't want grading companies to fail. They're a huge part of this hobby for me. I want to trust them. I want to have confidence in them. I want a good relationship with them. They just don't always seem to make it easy. So I sent my message, waited a week, and heard nothing back. That's when I posted my original video showing my CGC issue. 2 days after I ran that video, I received a call from Andy Broom. This was last Tuesday morning. I was doing meal prep for my dogs, and I saw I was getting a call from Florida. I had a feeling it may be someone from CGC. That morning, I just happened to be in a pretty good frame of mind and was well prepared for a conversation if it was CGC responding. What surprised me was with the influx of business these grading companies are getting right now, especially CGC, I really didn't expect to hear from Andy himself. I fully expected, if anything, a generic email response from customer service. I was ready for pushback, I was ready for excuses, I was ready for a frustrating conversation. But that's not what happened. Right off the bat, it was clear. Andy took the time to review my concerns laid out in the message. He gathered the facts, acknowledged the situation, he understood the issues. And then he did something I genuinely did not expect. He took full responsibility. No runaround, no deflection, just straight up accountability, accompanied by an apology. And honestly, alone, that would have been enough for me. During our conversation, he made it very clear he was taking this situation very seriously. He informed me that in regard to my concerns, the company had identified the problem and has gone through the necessary steps to correct it so nothing like this will happen again. During our conversation, he also pointed out that he is also a collector, and as a collector, he can relate with my frustration of how my cards were mistreated. I could feel him struggling with the fact that his company actually did this. After about 10 minutes of conversation with Andy, I was left with the feeling that I'm dealing with a company that is trying to do things the right way. There are going to be bumps in the road, and they will surely make more mistakes. But I was also getting the sense that this is a company with a solid outlook on how customers should be treated, something I have never sensed from any of the grading companies prior to this. Because again, I wasn't asking for anything, I just wanted an explanation. But it didn't stop there. As the conversation went on, Andy dropped a bomb on me and told me that CGC made a decision to continue grading my magazine cards, which was good news to me, and invited me to resubmit my 80 cards they had previously rejected from me. The very next day, someone from his team reached out with instructions to send those cards directly to him. Look, no company is perfect, mistakes happen, but how a company responds, that's what defines them. This could have been a story about losing trust completely. Instead, it turned into something else, a reminder that accountability still exists. Kudos to Andy Broom and CGC for how they handled this situation. If you haven't seen the original video about my issue with CGC, I put a link in the description so you can get it in full context. In fairness to CGC, the original video is no longer searchable. It is only available through this direct link in the description, so people watching this video can gain full context. I'm also really interested to hear what you guys think. I know some of you are still going to be critical, and that's fair. CGC made a huge mistake. They corrected the mistake, they took full responsibility, they apologized, they engaged me to get back on board with them, and they made the customer whole again. If every company related to this hobby handled problems like that, this hobby would be even better than it already is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.